Fox Sports welcomes you to the following presentation of the National Football League.
Back in Jacksonville, Carolina won the opening coin toss. They deferred, won the ball to start the second half, so Blake Bortles and Jacksonville will get the football first. These two teams, the Jags and the Panthers, as we check ideal weather for this part of Florida, the first coast this time of year. In fact, it's cooler and drier than it has been in nearly 3 months. It'll get up into the 80s throughout the afternoon. Ron Rivera trying to win his third straight NFC South title. Panthers actually winning a playoff game last year to advance. And Gus Bradley in his third season trying to move the Jags upward. Mentioned both of these franchises came into the league at the same time in 1995, and by their second year, both the Panthers and the Jags were playing in championship games in their respective conferences. They have not played very often. This is just the sixth meeting. As Graham Gano, who has led the NFL in touchbacks the last 2 seasons, kicks it off. 2015 for Corey Grant, who lets it sail over. And the Jags and Panthers are ready to go. Blake Bortles, 13 starts last year, didn't start till week 4. And Rondé intrigued by when he said most quarterbacks dream of throwing the big touchdown pass. I like running into somebody at the goal line and diving across. Tells you something about his personality.
I think one thing very similar between both of these quarterbacks is that they're different. They're not this prototypical, I want to throw it all the time. They both can run, and we'll see some of that today, I'm sure, Chris.
Rookie T.J. Yeldon starts in the backfield. He gets the carry on first down and has to fight for a couple of yards, if that. Jacksonville starting offense with the double tight end formation. Julius Thomas, of course, who they signed to be the centerpiece of the offense, injured, surgery on his finger hand. They hope he'll be back in 3 to 4 weeks. Stefan Wisniewski comes over from Oakland to play the center spot to snap to Bortles. And it's Yeldon again, gets up to the 25-yard line. Carolina defense without Star Latulippe. Charles Johnson up front. Kyle Love is in at that inside tackle spot. Luke Kuechly led the NFL in tackles 2 of the last 3 seasons. Got that new contract extension. And some veterans in the secondary joining Roman Harper. Charles Tillman at age 34. The turnover machine is what they call it. There's Kuechly staring in. The 3rd and 6 for Bortles. Yeldon remains the back. Blake Bortles with time and incomplete, out of bounds in the area of rookie Rashad Green. It's 4th down.
Jacksonville started that drive, and I think they want to be able to run the football. They're going to have tough sledding against that front 7 of Carolina, who I think felt a little bad about the way they played last year and are off trying to get to a fast start.
Brian Anger, 2nd in the NFL in gross punting average, standing at his 10. And Ted Ginn back with the Panthers, back to receive the punt. Fair catch waved for right at the 30-yard line of Carolina. An early stop for the Carolina defense to set up Cam Newton. And as you mentioned, he missed the opener last year, won by Derek Anderson at Tampa. But the numbers, no player in his first 4 seasons has had more passing or rushing yards. And that's the question. Even the Jacksonville defense said, Rondé, is how much do they want to run Cam Newton today?
Early in this game, we're going to have to determine how often they're going to run the read option, how often they're going to run quarterback lead, quarterback power. No other quarterback in the league does that, Chris, but you have to prepare for it. when you're facing Cam Newton.
On first down, plenty of time and incomplete. The coverage was good on Ted Ginn. Cam Newton will have Jonathan Stewart. D'Angelo Williams is off to Pittsburgh. He won't have Kelvin Benjamin, who was injured. Cam was with him just the other day after his surgery and is out for the entire season. Offensive line with Michael Orr on the blind side, much improved. On second down, Cam Newton fakes and keeps and fights up to the 24-yard line. And the Jacksonville defense missing #1 draft pick Dante Fowler, the first defensive player selected in the draft. Also, Adrian Branch and Senderick Marks are out today. In the secondary, they're hoping for big plays from Jonathan Cyprien, who led the team in tackles last year. Each team tested with an early third down. Jacksonville failed. Cam changing things at the line. Need to get to the 40 for a first down. An on-target catch. And it is first down, Jacksonville. Ed Dixon, the backup tight end to Greg Olsen with the grab.
This is good progression here, too. You know, usually when Carolina gets in this formation, they put Greg Olsen away from the three receiver side. He's always getting the ball, but some of the maturity that we know from Cam Newton found Ed Dixon there for the completion in the first down.
And the no huddle, not necessarily a hurry up, but no huddle, the rhythm kind of game that Cam Newton likes to get the offense going. On first down, Newton open, catch made. It's Corey Brown, call me Philly Brown. And Philly, Ron Rivera said, call him Philly, he makes catches. If you call him Corey, he's a nice young man. And they drafted Devin Funchess in the second round, but there are some big question marks about the receivers, not from the Panthers inside the building, but fans outside.
Plagued by drops all preseason was Philly Brown, or Corey Brown. Philly Brown comes into this game, gets his first catch of the game thrown at him, changed his number after the preseason. He wants to get off to a fast start. Cam told us he's not worried about his receiver group.
He said he's not going to hold back as he hands off to Jonathan Stewart, who fights through. And he's still going inside the 30 of Jacksonville.
You know, when Carolina had that 4-game stretch at the end of the season where they won 4 games in a row, it was because of their running game. Every single week they were getting around 100 yards per carry, and a big impetus to that was Jonathan Stewart. Getting this interesting, Chris. First time in his career he's been the feature back. He's always had to split time. We'll see a lot of him today.
A 22-yard run from the 27. Stewart carries again and gets inside the 25. Stewart had that strong finish in his final 5 games. He averaged 97 yards a game. And it's interesting because D'Angelo Williams moved on just like Steve Smith the year before. Carolina cutting the cord on some of those veterans. But he has been out 19 games since the start of 2012. Prior to that, he was an Ironman in his first 4 years, only missing a couple of games. Cam Newton hands off again to Stewart, who gets near the first down and is wrestled out of bounds, and looks like he has it at the 15-yard line. Paul Posluszny making the play for Jacksonville.
Read option type play here, and one thing to note here was a big point in the preseason. Watch Cam get hit there by Chris Smith. When he's in that posture, when they are going through the read option look, he has no protection under the rules, and he's going to get hit a lot today if they run a bunch of read option.
Rookie Cameron Artis-Payne checks in at running back. He wears number 34 on 1st and 10. Cam Newton fires, incomplete, just off the fingertips of Jericho Cotchery, who the Jags say has the best hands of any of the receivers on this team.
You know, lined up against Devin House, and one of the free agents that we talked about in the open from Green Bay. And Devon House likes to get those premium matchups. He was really looking forward to having a Kelvin Benjamin matchup when he looked at the schedule earlier in the year. And Gus Bradley said he's got to raise his game regardless of who he's covering.
Cam Newton on second down, incomplete for Ginn and floating in the end zone. A little too much on that.
Well, and that's the problem with Carolina's receivers, I think, Chris. Yes, Ted Ginn's been around a long time, but he's never been the #1 type receiver on any team. When he was in Miami, when he was in Arizona, and this ball is delivered right in his chest. Should have been a catch, should have been a first down for Carolina. We'll see if that becomes an issue as this day goes on.
Fozzie Whitaker in at running back. On 3rd down and 10. Cam Newton in the pocket, sideline throw is on target. There's Greg Olsen. His first target and catch of the game with Sergio Brown, and it's 1st and goal, Carolina.
Well, just as we were talking about early in the game, he's ISO'd to the one side of the field. In this play, if you watch any Carolina games or study film, when he's over there by himself, that is his #1 target. There's a reason why he's had 84 catches and 1,000 yards last year and finally made a Pro Bowl.
And he is expected to be targeted a lot more with Benjamin out. Ted Ginn Jr. in, Corey Brown in, as Stewart returns as the back. Jonathan Stewart, not a lot of running room.
You mentioned with Benjamin out, who the threats. The threat is Greg Olsen. In this offense, he is the primary target, even when Kelvin was in. I know Kelvin was targeted the majority of the passes last year, but Greg Olsen is the catalyst for this offense in the passing game. And to be honest with you, he's on my fantasy team.
Good call there. You have to be a genius to figure that out.
Right?
But the Jags said, we're going to be aware of Olsen. We're not going to obsess with Olsen, but they might have to. Devin Funchess is in the rookie, top of your screen. Stewart the back. Cam Newton keeps, floats for the end zone, and Olsen a one-handed touchdown grab. We have a flag.
Pass interference, offense, number 88, 10-yard penalty, replay, 2nd down.
Ron Torbert, our NFL referee, and the call is an offensive push-off against Olsen.
Well, Greg Olsen is sitting here saying, I've been around a long time. I don't get these calls, but this is clearly pass interference. And Aaron Colvin is in good position, but at the very top, Greg Olsen got away with pushing him out of phase. And that's why he was able to make that catch.
And it almost wasn't necessary if Olsen just goes further because the ball was floated deep enough.
Well, if that's the matchup that they're able to get on Greg Olsen, it's going to be a tough day for the Jaguars secondary.
So now, 12th play of the drive, and backed up as Fozzie Whitaker checks into the backfield. Touchdown nullified on the penalty. Cam Newton is going to go down. A sack for Chris Clemens.
You know, Chris, continue to talk about the development and the growth of Cam Newton. It's the narrative every single year, but he told us he wants to get the ball out of his hands. He wants to get more completions. Well, watch 19 cross your screen right there. You see Chris Clemens getting the sack, but little check down there to Ted Ginn would have given him a completion and a first down. Watch Ted Ginn here, running across the formation, uncontested. Just give him the ball right there. I know Puzlesny's there, but I like that matchup if you get him in space.
All the way back to the 25-yard line. Cam Newton, middle of the field, knocked away. Paul Puzlesny with the defensive play.
Two things that the Jaguars were able to do on defense there, and that was on 2 occasions, get them off schedule, having 3rd and long situations. They know that they can win in those situations. They can blitz. They can do a lot of different things. And this is a heck of a play by Paul Puzlesny. Him being back in this lineup this year is going to pay huge dividends for Jacksonville. Heck of a play there. Get them off on 3rd down.
Once a touchdown, nullified by penalty, pushed back by the Jacksonville defense. A 43-yard field goal try for Graham Gano. And the kick is through. The Panthers take their opening drive, march downfield, and put points up. The Jag defense kept them out of the end zone.
It's sponsored by Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com.
Kickoff weekend around the NFL, the only place with a couple of pools where you can sit inside the stadium, watch an NFL game, and take a dip. Actually not that hot for this part of the season for Jacksonville, and that's Darrell Williams, who was on the field goal unit team, who was injured on the back end of the play.
And that's a big loss for them if he is in fact hurt as bad as he looked. He was on the field for a long time. Now, if we know Ryan Khalil was hurt most of the end of the preseason, and Mike Rimmers, who is the starting right tackle, is going to be the backup center, and Darrell Williams would have been the guy to come in and play right tackle. So if he's out, some of that contingency plan is kind of on hold right now for Carolina.
4th round draft pick from Oklahoma as Gano kicks off. Corey Grant the last time didn't have an opportunity. Same deal this time. Jacksonville will take over at the 20 after a 3-and-out. They'll try and respond after the Panthers inflict a little pain and lead 3-0 here in Jacksonville.
It was sponsored by Bud Light, the official beer sponsor of the NFL.
Rondé Barber, Chris Myers back here in Jacksonville. Charles Johnson, who led the team with 8.5 sacks last year, part of that Carolina defensive line. Rookie Shaq Thompson is in at linebacker for the Panthers.
Green 80! Zone. Green 80!
Bortles on the move and cannot hold on is Allen Robinson.
Oh man, Chris, big things expected out of Allen Robinson this year, and we know Blake Bortles is good out of the pocket. He actually put some really nice ball on Robinson here. This is as easy as they come. I don't know what he's thinking there. That's easy completion.
It'll be 2nd down and 10. You do have to fear, if you're Carolina, a running Blake Bortles. He also can handle the read option. Led all quarterbacks with a 7.5-yard average on the ground last year. Yeldon. And tough running, but pushed out of bounds by Charles Tillman. Let's get a game break and say hi to Kurt Menefee. Kurt?
Hello, Chris Myers. The Seattle Seahawks have gone 120 games without a punt return for a score, so they drafted Tyler Lockett out of Kansas State in the 3rd round, and he takes care of that in the 1st quarter at St. Louis. 57 yards on that one. It's 7-0 Seahawks on top. Chris, Rondé, Jennifer?
All right, thank you, Kurt. The defending NFC champion Seahawks out to an early lead. And now another 3rd down for Bortles and the Jags. Pressure picked up. Bortles cannot get away. Flag down, back inside the 15. K1 Short with the tackle on Bortles.
I think you're going to have a hold there in the backfield, Chris, but Sean McDermott's defense, the defensive coordinator here in Carolina, and he really does some innovative things with his front 7. Now, there's a chance we see 3 down linemen.
Illegal use of hands to the face. Offense, number 65. That penalty is declined. Result of the play is 4th down.
That's on the right guard, Brandon Lindner.
Look at these guys all standing up, giving confusion, causing confusion to the D-line, the quarterback trying to make his protection calls, and then just a nice effort play by K1 Short to get a sack there. But it started with all that confusion that they were creating before pre-snap.
Jacksonville, the fewest penalty yards last year per game on average in the NFL. An early penalty here that no need to accept as Ginn has some room to run. Ted Ginn. And the punter runs him out of bounds. It took anger to keep him from getting more.
Ted Ginn still has incredible speed. You know, he wasn't much of a success in his year in Arizona last year, but they bring him back and they know that he provides that spark, that game or that field-changing type player. You saw it there on that punt return.
A 30-plus yard return, spots the ball at the 36 of Jacksonville. And Carolina in control of this game early. As Ted Ginn talking to Ricky Prohl, receivers coach. He averaged almost 11 yards on 26 punt returns with a touchdown with Arizona last year. He did not do too much. He did have a touchdown as Stewart is thrown to the ground. Posledny on the tackle.
Forward progress was stopped before the ball came out. It's second down.
Fans are watching on the big screen here. And Carolina wants to hurry before a challenge. And here comes the challenge. That looked like it came out while he was still standing.
Well, I think because the whistle had blown, or at least that's the way they're going to come over and tell Gus, since the whistle had blown, the play is dead. Even though clearly, as you watch the replay, that the ball comes out. He's not on the ground before it comes out, but the call on the field was forward progress had stopped.
Jacksonville has attempted to challenge forward progress on the play. However, by rule, forward progress is not reviewable unless it relates to the first down at the goal line. It's second down.
Well, Rudd, it's a good point, because if players hear the whistle, some of them stop. Maybe the ball carrier, even though maybe the whistle might have been quick, at least in the eyes of Jacksonville, can't challenge a play that has been completed. So second down 9 with Stewart remaining the back from the 35. And the rookie Devin Funchess in at receiver, wearing number 17 for Cam Newton. And this Carolina offense. Sideline throw incomplete. Intended for the second round pick from Michigan. You know, Funchess, a 6'4" receiver they thought would team up with the 6'5" Kelvin Benjamin to give him kind of a basketball set of receivers. But when you ask Mike Shula, having to go with Corey Brown and Ted Ginn as your starters, a little smaller, he said,
well, he said it's like a soccer team, right? You go from a basketball team to a soccer team, but he still has a matchup advantage over all of Jacksonville's corners. At that height, just give him some jump balls, get some confidence early. We'll see some production out of the kid. Offensive coordinator Mike Shula sends in Fozzie Whitaker on third down. Cam Newton airing it out. Wide open. And he can't hold on. Ted Ginn. Well, I know he said he's confident in his receivers, but that's the third drop now. 2 by Ted Ginn, 1 by Devin Funchess. And how does he get this wide open? I mean, that is a complete miscommunication in the secondary. Regardless, opportunity for a big play for Carolina, and you get the dropsies. This is a problem with them in the preseason, and thus far it's been a problem as the regular season starts. Hit him right in the hand. So Graham Gano lines up for a 53-yard field goal attempt. And that's not going to make it. A little to the left. And Carolina, they've dominated. They held the ball the last time for almost 6 minutes. Marched in again. Drop passes. Leave Ron Rivera frustrated. But his team leads 3-0.
Today's game is sponsored by the Lincoln Motor Company and the entirely new Lincoln MKX. By Samsung, introducing the new Samsung Galaxy S6 Edge Plus and the new Galaxy Note 5. And by DraftKings, free 1-week fantasy football at DraftKings.com.
TJ Yeldon the back, best field position early for Jacksonville. Their own 43. Bortles to throw and does, tipped away. And incomplete again. He was trying to get it to Rashad Green, and Benet Ben-Wickery, the nickelback, knocked that away. We've already had 3 drops by Carolina receivers and 1 by Jacksonville receivers, and we still have over 5 minutes to go in the opening quarter.
Well, they got great field position here, Chris, and Blake Bortles, I know it's year 2 for him. See if he can get this offense going. See if he can kickstart it here right now. Get this crowd into the game somewhat. It's dead in here.
Yeldon. And TJ Yeldon with a first down run inside the 43 of Carolina. He averaged almost 6 yards a carry in his career at Alabama.
When you watch this guy on film, Chris, what I notice is his wide to short base quickness. And you'll see it here on this run. He gets a great block up front by Stefan Wisniewski, but look at those cuts. Feet wide apart, feet close together. leaving guys in the dirt. It's the L2 button or R2 button on your controller if you're playing video games. Does it as good as anybody.
He takes a breather. Bernard Pierce and Corey Grant are both in the backfield, or at least on the field. Bortles to throw from the pocket, goes underneath and shoved right at the 40. Luke Kuechly on the defensive play. Let's get another game break. And here's Kurt Menefee.
Well, the Kansas City Chiefs didn't have a touchdown pass to a wide receiver all last season. Some things don't change. Travis Kelce, his second touchdown reception of the day. He's a tight end. They're up 14-0 at Houston in the first quarter. Chris, Rondé, and Jennifer.
All right, thank you, Kurt Menefee. He'll have updates all day. The Visa halftime report with all the highlights. We'll check on that Bears-Packers game as well going on as Yeldon comes back in on second down. And he gets the carry and weaves his way inside the 30, another first down. He rushed for 3,322 yards in 3 seasons at Alabama. Second-round draft pick, 4th most rushing yards in school history, the youngest running back to start for the Jags in franchise history, 21 years and change, 19 days actually short of his 22nd birthday, and he was bothered by a sprained finger in preseason, which affected the amount of playing time, but he looked sharp early. Quick pass complete to Rashad Green, another rookie, 5th-round draft pick from Florida State.
Well, this guy nobody's really talking about, but he had an outstanding preseason for Jacksonville, and asked Blake Bortles about him. He said he's a great choice route runner. He can play inside, does some things outside. He'll be involved in the return game, but we should see a lot of him today.
TJ Yeldon with another first down. His given name is Timothy Antonio, but he goes by TJ. An interesting run. His parents missed only one of his college games, and he often wears a wristband with their names on it. Of course, with that finger, he's got more to worry about. Doesn't seem to be bothering here on that left hand. 5 defensive backs come in. An impressive drive for the Jags. Bortles keeps. And Blake Bortles shoved out of bounds near the 6-yard line by Roman Harper.
Well, you said both of these quarterbacks are read option type guys, and we knew that we were going to see it today. There's no chance he was handing this ball off. You see Mario Addison go down on that play fake, didn't even give Blake Bortles a chance, and I'm telling you what, this quarterback will not slide. He wants that confrontation. I'm sure his quarterback coach and offensive coordinator don't like that, but he's a tough dude. He showed some of that toughness right there.
And he picked up Rondé the first down. So first and goal from the 6-yard line. TJ Yeldon in at running back. Allen Robinson. And Yeldon splits out to the top of your screen with Robinson as a receiver. And we got a delay game. Not sure why it took so long.
Delay of game. Up.
But they're going to call a procedure here. Let's see.
Before the delay game was called, timeout, Jacksonville. That's their first. This is a 30-second timeout.
So Gus Bradley alertly calling the timeout rather than suffering a penalty when he saw the offense was in danger of letting the clock run out. Let's check in on the field. Welcome to Jennifer Hale. Hi, Jennifer.
Well, hi, Chris. Some bad news for this Panthers line. Darrell Williams is out for the rest of this game with a right knee injury. He's grimacing, especially when trainers make him bend it. It seems to be the bottom part of the kneecap that's giving him especially a lot of trouble. He's sitting right now with an ice down on the training table, giving teammates a thumbs up. Meanwhile, over on the Jaguars sideline, safety Jonathan Cyprien, right calf strain. He is questionable now, Chris.
And he came in having a right forearm, a cast on that forearm and broken finger. Thank you, Jennifer.
Mike 59. Move!
Yeldon again splits out as receiver. Top of your screen. Blake Bortles. End zone throw. A little high and incomplete. The coverage was good on Rashad Green by Bené Benwikere.
Bené Benwikere may have got away with a little bit of a grab there, but immediately the official back there said that ball was uncatchable. interesting that they got back into the same formation. They knew what they wanted. This is just a little sail route. You know they're going to be in man coverage down here. You got all that room to the sideline to throw that football, and Blake Bortles just doesn't give him a good throw.
Hey. Green 80. Green is up.
TJ Yeldon goes into the crowd and is shoved backwards. It'll be 3rd and goal.
This has been a nice drive by Jacksonville, Chris. You know, a lot of balance in this drive. Really, though, it's starting up front with this offensive line. They did a lot in the offseason to get better. They go out and get Stefan Wisniewski. They get Jeremy Purnell to play right tackle. You think they have an improved left tackle in Luke Jokel. They're holding up so far today against this tough Carolina defensive front.
Mercedes Lewis, the tight end, lined up top of your screen out to the left of Bortles, who looks the other way, floats for the end zone, and nothing there. So an impressive drive stalls, setting up a field goal attempt. Jason Myers, who has never played in an NFL game. They traded Josh Scobie on to Pittsburgh. Myers with a strong leg. They thought they'd hold him for a year, but the deal for Scobie pushed him into this opportunity. Did kick in the Arena League in 2014. This will be a 22-yard field goal try, first of his NFL career. Snap hold, everything looks good, and so is the kick. We're tied at 3. That's about what Gus Bradley expected. An early defensive struggle here in the South. Jags will kick off in a moment. Hope you're enjoying your kickoff weekend. It's back to football, and these fans are keeping it cool, watching the Jags and the Panthers tied at 3. And Darrell Williams out for the remainder of this game. The rookie tackle injured on the field goal made early. Fozzie Whitaker back to receive and waving everybody away. Jason Myers, who kicked his first field goal, kicks off, and Carolina will take over at the 20-yard line. Cam Newton hoping to move them downfield. Week 1 continues later today on CBS. Then tonight with Sunday Night Football on NBC, and tune in tomorrow for a Monday Night Football doubleheader on ESPN. Panthers have moved the ball, a made field goal, a missed field goal, some penalties. Took a touchdown off the board. Jonathan Stewart the back. 3 different running backs have played so far in this opening quarter for the Panthers. That's Olsen moving around, and Stewart gets the football, and is going to cut back and cannot get away. Good tackle from behind across the 26 by Sergio Brown, and yes, Jonathan Cyprien is back on the field for Jacksonville as well. Brandon Weger, the rookie running back who made the team inactive. We've seen the other rookie, Cameron Artis-Payne, Fozzie Whitaker, and Stewart, who remains in. On 2nd down 4. Cam Newton has it, fakes the pitch, and fights to get to the 30, where Jared Odrick brings him down. And let's see the spot. He was trying to get the first down. The first quarter is going to run out here, and they'll have time to take a look, calling it 3rd down as you see the official. And that is the end of the first quarter in Jacksonville. Our score is the Panthers 3 and the Jags 3. Fox NFL Sunday. We'll have more after these messages and a word from your local Fox station. Start of the second quarter in Jacksonville. We're tied, and a 3rd down and 1. Cam Newton keeps in that 6'5" frame, lunging forward. He's run twice today for 8 yards, has not scrambled. Ed Dixon pointing first down, but we haven't seen that indication from the official.
Well, they're saying 4th down, but
that might be worth.
I'm telling you what, this should be a 1st down every single time they run this play. Cam Newton is such a big, strong guy. I can't imagine that he didn't get this first down.
And no early. Look at Cam says, what about Riverboat Ron? Can't we go for it? Let's take a look. A little too deep in your own territory and too early in a defensive game, but it looked like he might have made it through.
It's hard to see there exactly where Cam was
There's
down.
a challenge.
It
looks like Ron Rivera says, we don't have to go for it. I'm the challenge.
I mean, the surge of the offensive line was well past the line to gain, so unless Cam got hit from somebody underneath that pile and put his knee on the ground, this has to be a first down.
Well, we've already had an attempted challenge that was waved off because you couldn't from Gus Bradley. Ron Rivera.
Carolina has challenged the ruling that the runner was down by contact prior to reaching the line to gain. We'll review the play. Timeout.
Ron Rivera saying we want another look at this and worth an early challenge here in the second quarter, tied at 3.
Game on Fox is sponsored by Chevrolet. Find new roads. By DirecTV. If you call yourself a sports fan, you gotta get DirecTV. And by Black Mass from Warner Brothers Pictures. In theaters everywhere September 18th.
Challenged by Ron Rivera.
Following the review, the ruling on the field stands as called. It's 4th down. Carolina will be charged with its first team timeout of the half.
Rondé, is the ball visible there? It has to be clear on the review to overturn.
Well, you can talk about inconclusive evidence and all that stuff, but the ball disappears. We can't see where
that looks like a first down.
We can't see where the ball goes over because of the body of Greg Olsen there, and they had those same looks. It just wasn't enough there, but to us, it did look like a first down.
Timeout assessed, challenge lost. Rashad Green waving for the fair catch, and he does so. Here comes a flag at the 30-yard line. The flag 5 yards behind him. That's a big call on that review because the Carolina Panthers keep the drive going. They've had long drives sustained here, even though they only have 3 points. Forced to punt it away.
We'll take away the
During
drops.
the kick, illegal block in the back. Number 22 with the return team. 10 yards from the spot of the foul. Correction, 10 yards from the end of the kick. First down.
It's going to push him back to the 20. Aaron Colvin, the corner.
Yeah, you see the top right of your screen will be right there. Just pushes Colin Jones to the ground, and he really didn't even need to touch him. Colin Jones was going to the ground. Look at Gus Bradley. Say, come on, use your head. Penalties kill your offense, put you back inside the 20.
Denard Robinson is in at running back on first down from the 20, and he gets the carry. There's a big hole. He slips up across the 26-yard line.
It's our first opportunity to see Denard Robinson at running back today. I know they want to feature T.J. Yeldon, but last year, Denard Robinson was a huge surprise for everybody in Jacksonville. He led the team in all-purpose yards. He's having a great year at running the football until he got hurt. You see that 4.3-yard average. He's not a big guy. He runs tough between the tackles.
Former Michigan star from Deerfield Beach, Florida, remains the back. Bortles floats it down the sideline and incomplete in the area of Allen Robinson. It'll bring in now a third down situation. Let's go to the game break with Mike Hill.
All right, guys, Josh McCown being evaluated for a concussion. Look who's in the game. Johnny Football, Johnny Manziel, 54-yard touchdown to Travis Benjamin. His first career TD pass, 7-0 Browns. Back to you, Chris and Rondé.
Thank you. The Packers leading the Bears in the second quarter. Seattle and the Rams are tied. And here we're tied. Need to get to the 30. Bortles on the move. Throws. Catch made for the first down. Up across the 32-yard line is Alan Hearns, the guy that Bortles said was the go-to guy. The most reliable of the receivers because he says he always lines up in the right spot.
It's the second,
he did there.
Yeah, it's the second time we've seen Bortles get out of the pocket. And you notice there's big stories about how Blake Bortles changes delivery. When you're out of the pocket like that, having a shorter delivery, which he worked on all offseason, is really going to help him.
Fakes to Denard Robinson. Bortles, middle of the field, right on target is Allen Robinson. Inside the 40 of Carolina.
That was a beautifully executed play there. He had Allen Hurns.
That's Robinson limping, by the way, after a gain of 27.
He had Allen Hurns. You see him there in the slot. Pull the defense away from Allen Robinson, and it opens up a huge gap in there. The defense is too short and underneath coverage. You see Kuechly there, knows that he's wrong. He has to jump and try to make that play, and well executed by Blake Bortles and Allen Robinson.
From the 40, Marquise Lee inactive. Brian Walters at receiver, and this is to Torrey Grant, who fights hard to get inside the 35 of Carolina. Checking on Allen Robinson, who made that catch, and in pain, grimacing on the Jacksonville sideline. Talked about the Bortles delivery and the change, shortening his delivery. Visiting Tom House, the former Major League pitcher and movement specialist, a quarterback guru of many like Brady and Manning and Breeze.
Yeah. Hey, alert, alert! Alert, alert! Mike's 59. Green 80! Green 80!
Denard Robinson down to the 31. And he went out to California. Was supposed to go, as we look at the mechanics here, last year, Rondé, take us through the delivery.
Yeah, last year we had a game of his, and you see how long that delivery is. It's way down, it comes up, and he threw some ducks, man, some bad balls. But so far today, early in the preseason, sorry they got us on a quick snap there on 3rd and short.
And Bortles kept the ball for the what looks like the first down, and it is a Jacksonville first down.
Early in the preseason with Blake Bortles, you saw the results of the work that he did with Tom House. The release was significantly shorter. Balls come out much more crisp. And Nate Hackett, his quarterback coach, give him a lot of credit for the things that he did in the offseason. The offense is better. He feels more comfortable, and I think we're going to see some of those results this entire season.
Quick pass caught by Allen Hurns, and Allen Hurns is down to the 15 of Carolina. One thing that delivery does is it allows him to be more accurate in less time and using less energy or less wear and tear on your body, and he's throwing darts instead of floaters.
Well, he definitely is. You saw that one wobbly pass he threw on that highlight reel we showed you guys all preseason. Nothing but crisp, sharp passes, and he'll throw the occasional bad throw. But the guy's mechanics are so much better, so much more efficient, and he's a better quarterback because of it.
From the 15, Bortles is going to be sacked across the 21-yard line. A surge of Panther blue, and Luke Kuechly gets the sack.
Luke Kuechly does a lot of covering in this Carolina defense. You see him right here in the middle of your screen. And this is just a little delayed blitz. He has Denard Robinson in coverage. So when Denard Robinson blocks, he's able to replace into the pressure and gets a sack on Blake Bortles.
And when you asked Bortles what he saw when he looked at 59 out there in the Panthers, he said a rich guy. Pass is caught by Allen Hurns, who will fight. Ball comes out on the end of the play, that extra effort. And the officials will sort it out. It looked like Kuechly may have caused the fumble.
I was just getting ready to say, Chris, there's a reason he saw rich guys, because he's worth it.
5 years, $62 million contract extension for Luke Kuechly. And his teammates are pointing as if they came away with the football. Of course, the NFL says, yeah, the official says yes. Panthers have it.
You'll see Kuechly there right in the middle of your screen as Allen Hurns tries to get it. It wasn't Luke Kuechly. It was Josh Norman. Kuechly was there in the original hit. This is one thing Carolina has been preaching to themselves, is creating turnovers, recovering fumbles. They had a bunch of them last year.
Not sure why they're still. Looks like some people are pushing and shoving over there, and Hurns is upset. He lost the football. Check the official. And remember, this year the NFL has a special emphasis on people as he gets knocked down. He's okay. On people peeling back on the pile because they think it leads to skirmishes and altercations. Bottom line is, it's a Panthers takeaway. First down, Carolina. Josh Norman recovered the fumble, both he and Kuechly causing it. Alan Hearns couldn't hold on, so the Panthers take over with Jonathan Stewart in the backfield. Cam Newton backpedaling and connects to Stewart. Run out of bounds by Dan Skuta, and the official, he's okay. That's the side judge, the Scott Edwards, who is knocked down, but look who's quick to help him up.
Yeah, you know, this is, I mean,
there comes Jonathan Stewart.
Old guys and hang around these big tree-like football players, Jonathan Stewart and Greg Olsen. Good guys. Help this guy up on his feet.
Cam Newton to throw again. Right on target for a first down. Pushing his way up to the 33-yard line is the rookie Devin Funchess. 6'5", 225 pounds, and battled a hamstring through some of the preseason. He'll probably be a starter within a couple of weeks at the receiver spot. And they go to the line without a huddle. Cam Newton has had 3 drops so far by his receivers in this game. Looks to throw. And it's intercepted. Paul Posluszny has it. It's a takeaway for Jacksonville.
You know, this Jaguars defense did not do this at all last year. They didn't do it in the preseason. But this is a huge turnover by Paul Posluszny, and Cam Newton gets plenty of time in the pocket here, and he just doesn't see number 51 sitting underneath this route. Look at him get up on top of that ball and make a great interception.
Posluszny, 4th straight year, voted a team captain here in Jacksonville and making a big play in exchange of turnovers as T.J. Yeldon comes in the backfield for Bortles. Inside the 25 of the Panthers. Excellent field position in a tie game. It's Yeldon who's knocked down for a loss. The Panthers were there in a hurry, and coming up, Josh Norman from his corner spot. Norman coming off his best season, came out of the concussion protocol from the preseason and is fine, good to go. Cam cooling off on a 80-degree day here in Jacksonville.
59! Boom! Mike's 59, Mike's 59. Green 80! Green is it!
Bortles incomplete in the end zone. Nothing there.
Yeah, that was not a good throw, but Blake Bortles, this last drive, watch all these darts come out of his hand. Big completion to Allen Robinson. These little short passes to his receivers, running backs in the flat. There's definitely an improved Blake Bortles here in Jacksonville this year, and it's going to pay dividends for him again. I think they've gone a long way to put some talent around this kid, but he's done a lot for himself to make himself a better quarterback as well.
Allen Robinson and Alan Hearns, the receivers. Bortles with time, and Rashad Green can't hang out of the slot.
That was a good throw, Chris. I mean, he had Rashad Green running through that defense, running through that zone defense. Just another on-target pass, and his receiver just lets it come to his body, goes right through his hands, and it's an incompletion.
So here comes Jason Myers to try his second career field goal. The big home screen board here at the stadium goes black on one side. He's going to try from 44 yards. He made earlier, and this one is off to the right and no good. He made 5 of 7 in the preseason. All of those were, at least 4 of those were under 50 yards. Despite the interception by Posluszny, missed field goal, we're still tied.
Game on Fox is sponsored by FanDuel, the leader in one-week fantasy football.
Rondé Barber, Chris Myers here in Jacksonville. Glad to have you watching on kickoff weekend. Jacksonville comes in with the second youngest roster this season in the NFL behind the Rams. Jonathan Stewart the back, good field position starting from the 34. Carolina, Cam Newton still has it and has some room to run, but he's brought down by Dan Skuta.
Dan Skuta is one of the new defenders on this Jaguars defense. There's 7 of them. Dan Skuta is one. Jared Odrick is another one. Chris Smith, who's going to play a lot, is going to count him into that group. But Aaron Colvin is getting the start at corner. He's new. Sergio Brown. And, of course, Devon House, the other corner. It's been rebuilt. They felt like they got better in the offseason with these additions, and they played well so far today against Cam Newton in this Panthers offense.
They kept him out of the end zone. The Panthers have moved the ball, but only have 3. Cam Newton backpedaling, overthrows again. There's a flag thrown in that area. Ted Ginn.
Prior to the pass, holding, defense, number 22, 5 yards from the previous spot, automatic, first down.
That's on Aaron Colvin, the Jags, in his second NFL start. As mentioning, Ted Ginn, the target, and that has no catches yet. A few drops in this game.
Aaron Colvin is a corner who Gus Bradley thinks can play both inside and outside for this team, and that was, Ted Ginn is fast. He's worked hard on his routes, and Aaron was in good position there. He didn't necessarily need to grab onto him to continue that coverage.
On first down from the Carolina 43, Cam Newton tries to flip it and does to Ted Ginn, who makes the catch and goes out of bounds for another Panther first down.
Really good patience right there, Chris, between quarterback and receiver. Because as he started to boot out of that pocket, that play looked like it was going to get covered up. He waited till he got behind the defense and made a good throw.
Spotted at the 40 of Jacksonville. Cam Newton has run 4 times for 12 yards. He's 6 of 13 in the air, suffering an interception. Fakes to Stewart, floats it down the middle of the field, and a little bit long for Jericho Cotchery.
Oh.
Let's get a game break and update with Mike Hill. Mike?
All right, guys, Bears, Packers, great rivalry. Matt Forte, great running back. 1-yard touchdown run, his 58 total TD since joining the NFL in 2008. Bears on top, 10-7 in the second. Chris, Rondé, back to you.
All right, thank you. It looks like we have a member of the Panthers. Turner, the right guard, is injured down on the field. They will check on him, and we will have more in a moment. Trey Turner checked for a concussion. Chris Scott in at right guard. Already Darrell Williams is out of this game, the backup tackle for Carolina. Jonathan Stewart, leading rusher in the game, fighting hard to get down to the 34 of Jacksonville. Michael Orr, the left tackle, first year with Carolina after Baltimore and then the Titans last year over on the blind side.
We had such a tough time when he was in Tennessee. He had toe problems, but so far today, as I've watched him, he's been great in pass coverage, been effective in the run game. Reunited with his first coach, the coach he had in Baltimore, Matsko, and he showed great in the preseason. I think they're really high on him.
3rd down 3. Trey Turner comes back in at guard. Stewart's the running back. Cam Newton looks downfield, flips to Stewart, who has the first down. Hit initially on the other side of the 30 by Jonathan Cyprien, but pushed forward to get the first.
That was really good by Cam there. He moving out of the pocket, really looking down the field to deliver this football, but he told us that he's looking for completions. That's the way you do it. There's a check down in almost every single passing route, and he found it right there in Jonathan Stewart, and they were able to convert on a first down because of it, because he didn't force the ball down the field.
Yeah, find the completion is his philosophy. Wants to get to a completion percentage up there 65-70% for the year. For his career, he's just under 60 as Carolina uses a timeout and threatening to add more points in a 3-3 game. They've moved the ball a lot. As we welcome you inside our booth here in Jacksonville, kickoff weekend. Great that football is back. Seems like Carolina has dominated, yet we're only in a tie game.
Well, the turnovers have made a difference. I think Carolina, early in this game, they were dominating, but the drops killed them. They were in scoring position on a number of occasions. Drops by Ted Ginn hurt them. And really, Chris, since then, I've seen them getting a lot more two tight end sets, run the football, a lot of play action, boot out of the pocket, trying to something that they know that they're comfortable with, and they continue to move the ball down the field.
Waiting for an explosive play from one of these offenses. They fake to Brown, they flip to Whitaker, and Fozzie's knocked down inside the 25-yard line.
Really good job by that Jags defense on that play. That was a long, developing Philly Brown on the fake reverse. Cam Newton spinning out, trying to get a quick screen to Fozzie Whitaker, and Jacksonville was all over it. His defender didn't move from Fozzie to make the tackle immediately.
Philly Brown in for the speed. He's at the top of your screen. Whitaker the back on 2nd and 5, and Philly Brown knocked to the ground by Dwayne Gross. The Jags are saying no catch. Carolina says he caught it and he took the hit.
He took a big hit, but he held on to this football, Chris. This was, and they know they're not going to let him challenge it.
First down. That's Whitaker with nowhere to go. Carolina was quick to take that snap.
Yeah, we'll take a look and see if he did. You see he's at the top of the screen there running a slant. They faked the bubble, but he's coming to this slant the whole way. And from that picture, it looked like he did hold on to the football.
Showing good hands.
Yeah, today he caught the first ball delivered to him in traffic there. He knew he was going to get some contact. He held on to it again.
Jonathan Stewart, the running back, splits out as a receiver all the way at the top of your screen. Clock running, Cam set to throw, and Newton delivers on target to Mike Tolbert, who is knocked down at the 12-yard line.
Mike Tolbert is so invaluable to this offense. You know, last year when they had some struggles on that side of the ball, he was injured. He was injured a lot of the season. But because he does so much, he plays the fullback, he plays the U tight end. When he was hurt, they had to have other people do his job. And now that he's back, this offense is much more efficient.
Greg Olsen has been thrown to just twice. He has one catch and then an offensive pass interference penalty. It's about time in the red zone. That's where they like to go to him on 3rd down. Cam Newton is going to keep and fight to get near the first down.
No other quarterback in football runs these plays, Chris. It's just a quarterback lead. You know, you ask Mike Shula, and they have quarterback power, quarterback lead, all these things that you do with two backs in the backfield, they're able to do with this big, giant quarterback of theirs. And he got close to a first down there.
Ron Rivera already lost a challenge on a 3rd and short, but it looked like Cam Newton got a first down. On a 3rd down run, this could put him in a situation whether he has to go for it on 4th or not. And Riverboat Ron, who has been very successful when he's gone for it on 4th down, nearly 70% of the time since he's been the head coach. He doesn't really take to the nickname, but I think he enjoys the analytics and then the gut feeling. He puts it all together.
He does, and I think his gut feeling is telling him to go for this right now. Now you're on the road, opening week of the season. We mentioned in the open that they haven't won. Why not take a chance here, Chris?
Cam Newton told me when I want him to go for it, I just give him that look.
And he went over to the sideline and gave him that look, and Cam Newton in the offense is staying on the football field. There's Mike Shula there in the booth. Got a lot of plays that they can run down here.
Mike Shula served 4 years as the Jags quarterback coach back in 2007 through 2010. We have reached the 2-minute warning. We're tied in Jacksonville on kickoff weekend. Panthers are going for it on 4th down. Follow your favorite team all season long. Go to itunes.com/NFL. Mike Tolbert, the back on 4th and inches.
This would be a quarterback sneak or get the ball to Greg Olsen.
That's Brown in motion, and Cam Newton keeps lunging forward. And that should be good enough.
Hey, I tell you what, Cam Newton, big, enormous quarterback, let's say.
6'5", 245.
Whatever.
He got the first down.
He got the first down here. But I want you to watch number 35 here, Mike Tolbert. Watch what he does to his quarterback. This is, I mean, friendly fire is one thing. This is a little bit unnecessary. Bang!
He's pushing it. That's another 245 pounds going forward. The Jags used a timeout here, so they'll have one remaining. Carolina has one timeout remaining.
I'm sure Cam said thank you after that, though, because of the first down.
Whatever it takes. Cam Newton doesn't hesitate when he talks about running the football. He said, I'm not going to be stupid about it, but I enjoy it. And he's had a number of, and his offensive coordinator, Mike Shula, calling his number on the ground. 6 carries today, 6 attempted runs. Stewart in the backfield, a big one there to get the first down.
The big red zone threat is Greg Olsen. He's sitting right there in the slot. See if they try to get him the ball here.
Cam Newton to throw, fires in the end zone, touchdown, Jericho Cotchery. The Panthers get 6.
Well, I had my eyes on Greg Olsen, and
so
I think
the
Jacksonville Jaguars had all their attention on Greg Olsen as well. And Jericho Cotchery, the most sure-handed guy, receiver at least on this football team, gets the touchdown from Cam Newton.
And whether he's on the road or home, looks for Panther fans and hands the football away. There's quite a few Carolina Panther fans here in Jacksonville. Graham Gano will try the 33-yard extra point. 93% made in the preseason from this new distance that can also be blocked and returned for 2 points, which has not happened so far this season. Cam Newton breaks the 3-all tie with a laser to Cotchery, and the Panthers lead 10-3. Cam Newton producing the first touchdown of this game, and Cotchery on the receiving end. Somebody had to step up, and that was the question with Kelvin Benjamin out for the Carolina receivers. Who would step up? Cotchery sure-handed on that one, and so is that fan. It's only about a 5.5-hour drive from Charlotte to here, and there are some Panther fans rooting. They made the drive that are here in person. Corey Grant is going to bring it out. Trying to give the Jags a spark, and he does. All the way up to the 35. And no flags. Colin Cowherd is on FS1. Weekdays, noon Eastern on Fox Sports 1. He loves talking NFL, among other things, and not afraid to tell you what he thinks. Check out The Herd on FS1. Fans watching closely as T.J. Yeldon and Bortles have been the primary factor for the Jacksonville offense this afternoon. Catch made, held on to by Rashad Green. Kuechly with a big-time hit.
What you come to expect from big number 59. He's a communicator, but he's also a great tackler on this defense. That was a big hit, Chris.
And a clean hit. One timeout Jacksonville. Bortles again on target to the rookie who gets the first down. That's Rashad Green. Bortles trying to hustle everybody up as the clock runs under 1:15 to go. Time in the pocket underneath Yeldon, and that's going to chew up the clock. And again, Kuechly was there.
Kuechly went down right after he made that tackle. He went right down.
Slow getting up. It's Luke Kuechly, and now back on the ground. Medical staff, training staff out in a hurry for the Panthers.
This is a scary looking hit here, Chris. You know, Luke Kuechly, you know he's a striker. You just saw him hit the receiver there, but watch his head. His head is down. And he's just immediately he succumbs to whatever it is that's happened to him. Tried to get up and fell back to the ground on 2 separate occasions. This is not what you want to see if you're Carolina, if you're a football person. That was a scary looking hit there, Chris.
Just celebrated the contract that we talked about, 5 years, $62 million, and being helped up as the Panthers are charged the timeout with the injury. And that's a good sign. He's talking. He told us that he loves to talk, even out on the field, even when nobody's listening. He doesn't like silence. Makes him feel better, play better. And even walking away after an injury, still talking to his teammates. I
got to imagine, Chris, just by the looks of that he's going straight into the concussion protocol over on the sideline or in the locker room.
Without Kuechly,
A.J. Klein will go into the middle now on this defense. Thomas Davis is still in the football game. He's the other linebacker.
Bortles throw in traffic, but it's caught for a first down at the 40 of Carolina. And Rashad Green has been the target this drive for Bortles, who is now 11 out of 19. There's room to run, and Bortles is going to take it and get out of bounds. A terrific play when you take into consideration field position, time on the clock, and the score of this game.
Really good job by Blake Bortles stepping up in the pocket. But watch his right tackle, Jeremy Parnell, who they just got from Dallas, handle that edge pressure and create a lane for Blake Bortles to get out and get that first down.
Again, when you think of all the running quarterbacks, Cam Newton, Russell Wilson, he led everybody last year in the NFL, averaging 7.5 yards a carry. Picked up 12 there. And sidearms it to Yeldon underneath, who slips a tackle and gets out of bounds at the 25.
And there you go again with T.J. Yeldon. I told you about the wide base, small base, and there's Luke Jokel getting hurt, but he goes down to the ground. They're going to have to take a timeout here.
And that's the last timeout for Jacksonville. See what's coming up on the Visa Halftime Report with Kurt Menefee.
Coming up on the Visa Halftime, the Chiefs show J.J. Watt and the Texans some hard knocks. Andrew Luck and the Colts off to a slow start in Buffalo. And Johnny Manziel not only plays, but does something he's never done before. It's all coming up on the Visa Halftime.
Jacksonville checking on their left tackle, Luke Jokel, former first-round draft pick. And looks like Sam Young may come in to take that spot. Luke Kuechly left moments ago. We will check on these injuries and have a full report, if not by the half, certainly to start the second half. And you see, because of the injuries, timeouts were teams were forced to use those, so no timeouts for Jacksonville or Carolina. Mike Hill has another game break. Mike?
Hey guys, Chiefs all over the Texans today. Jamal Charles, he can do it all. 7-yard TD catch out of the backfield from Alex Smith. It is 27-9 down in Houston at the half. Chris and Rondé, back to you.
Thank you very much. The Packers and Bears are tied nearing the half. Seattle and the Rams tied at the half. And here a 7-point Carolina lead, but the Jags threatening. 26 seconds remain in the half. Bortles for the end zone and on target. It's a Allen Hurns touchdown. Yes. No. Did he step out of bounds? The official put his arm up and then waved. They're going to discuss it. The catch was made. He may have stepped out before.
This was a
now they're saying no.
I got to put this incompletion right on Allen Hurns. This ball is right where it needs to be. He just gets a little lazy
There's
with his
one
feet
foot
here. He got him in. That's a catch.
Those are, but he did not get into the end zone. It's a catch.
That is definitely a catch.
And of course, that will be reviewed automatically.
From up here, it looked like he got a little lazy and just let his feet fall out of bounds. But looking at that replay, ball, the right foot is on the ground when the ball is in his hands. His left foot clearly gets in bounds. They'll review this and see. Another look at it. Look at his right foot right there. It's on the ground. Ball's in his hands. Left foot clearly in bounds. This is going to be a catch.
Possession that is a catch, but did not. Had he hit the pylon, it would have been a touchdown. Watch the official right there, watching closely.
Well, the only thing to consider here is possession of the ball. His feet are clearly in bounds there by that angle that we just saw. So instead of lamenting his laziness, I got to give him credit. That was a heck of a catch.
Our rules analyst, Mike Pereira, watching all the games with us back at the Fox Network Center in Los Angeles. And Mike, how did you see this?
Well, I'll tell you, it's interesting because they got to make two decisions here. It's ruled incomplete, so they didn't rule touchdown. So now they got to say, is it a catch? And if they conclude it is a catch, which I agree with you, I think it is, then did the ball go over or inside the pylon?
The Jacksonville receiver had control of the ball and 2 feet down. It is a completed catch. It is Jacksonville's ball, first and goal on the half-yard line on the right half.
And so the key here, guys, by the way, the key is now since they've ruled this a catch and he goes out of bounds, does he get the ball over or inside the pylon, which was what he has to do. And to me, you can see it doesn't. So I think that's a great decision in replay to put the ball there.
All right, so the officials did get it right on the call. No touchdown, and that's big because no timeouts and 21 seconds remaining. First and goal, Jacksonville.
Well, he has to put a ball in the end zone here. Can't afford anything to get stopped outside of the goal line.
Bortles throwing that way. Allen Robinson, the target. Josh Norman was all over him in the corner.
Great coverage there by Josh Norman. You know he's ISO'd over there on that side of the field with Allen Robinson. He actually loses him at first, but Blake Bortles really doesn't put a good ball on him. If that ball is out to the outside, down as a back shoulder catch, or over the top, Allen Robinson would have had a chance to grab that, but hit Josh Norman square in the back. Good coverage.
18 seconds, second and goal.
Mike's 56. Mike's 56. One day.
Blake Bortles, end zone catch made, touchdown Rashad Green for the Jags. And the rookie who helped move him downfield on the receiving end of the Bortles touchdown pass in his first career NFL kickoff weekend season opener.
Rashad Green has been the receiver that Blake Bortles has been relying on all day here. See him right there. It's the third receiver, and this is a bullet, man. This ball comes out so fast. Josh Norman doesn't even have a chance to react to the throw. Look how tight and compact that delivery was, and a really good catch by Rashad Green.
Jason Myers, who missed on a long field goal with the lengthy extra point, and that's what the NFL, despite 93% when they moved it back, snapping it from the 15, this miss will play big.
You know, we asked Gus Bradley, had he considered the 2-point, 33-yard field goal conundrum that's now presented him. I think when he goes into the locker room, you know, down now a point, it changes the dynamic, right?
Absolutely, and you could still go for two, and we thought that some coaches might do that, but both Gus Bradley and Ron Rivera said we're not going to start out that way, at least in theory. We don't want to play catch-up. Well, now somebody will have to, and remember, Carolina gets the football to start the second half.
You know what, Chris? Somebody around the league is going to go for two all the time. Not sure who it would be.
I'm guessing
Chip Kelly, anyone?
Yes, the Eagles.
But it's going to happen, and the entire dynamic of scoring is going to change because of it. It should be interesting. They wanted something different and make that point, that extra point, more exciting. Well, they're definitely going to get it this year.
Bortles with that touchdown pass, 124 yards through the air, 15 out of 24. He's run 4 times. And Newton has run 6 times. Cam Newton is 11 of 19, and a touchdown and an interception. Fozzie Whitaker will down it. We have 14 seconds to go in the half. Saturday, a full day of college football across the Fox network, starting as Tulsa takes on 19th ranked Oklahoma on FS1, and then Oklahoma State in action against UTSA. A clash between Cal and Texas on Fox. BYU squaring off against UCLA. That's back on FS1. So Saturday, it's college football on Fox and FS1. We hope you tune in. Well, it's about the kind of game we figured, as they'll run the clock out. Get the ball in the second half. A couple of touchdowns late in what was a battle of defense and field goals.
It was. But you know what I noticed from both of these quarterbacks? When they had to get 2-minute or the no-huddle type offense where they're making the plays at the line of scrimmage, they were much more comfortable. Saw Cam move the ball down the field like that. Blake Bortles in that last drive right there was really comfortable delivering the football. So don't be surprised if we come out at halftime and we see both coordinators put that in there.
Halftime score, Panthers lead the Jags 10-9. Coming back, the Visa halftime report with all the highlights and scores from kickoff weekend. We're glad you're watching the NFL on Fox. Panthers expecting to receive the kick from Jacksonville with a 10-9 lead to start the second half. Today's excitement is brought to you by Nissan and fans everywhere optimistic and excited about their team. It's kickoff weekend, and for Carolina, back-to-back division titles and a playoff win. For Jacksonville, hoping to build in the right direction. Opening day. Always an optimistic time, and that was today's excitement brought to you by Nissan. There has been some excitement in this game as Cam Newton suffered an interception. Turnovers even. Blake Bortles, a late touchdown pass in the second quarter, but then the missed extra point by Jason Myers in his first NFL game, and there he is. Also a missed field goal of 44 yards. Otherwise, the score would be different. Deep for Carolina is Fozzie Whitaker. Waving everybody off. 20-yard line is where Cam Newton and the Carolina offense will take over. 2 6'5" quarterbacks, big, strong, and big-armed. Rondé, as we look, not afraid to run the ball, and we've seen that, making it tough on defenses. But you pointed out, when they pick up the pace and get the rhythm going and go with the no-huddle, that's when their offenses have been at their best.
I think they're more comfortable in that situation just because they have the defense on their heels. I know Cam particularly likes that situation because he can get in the flow of the football game, knows that he has a running back and a tight end that he can always get the ball to, that everybody's going to be worried about. We'll see if Mike Shula gets into that mode here early in the second half.
Jonathan Stewart gets the carry, knocked down right away by Paul Posluszny, who has the interception, and he has been the leading rusher in this game.
We talk a lot about the other linebacker, but Paul Posluszny has had a great game today. He had the interception. He's had a number of solid hits there in the middle. He's been a nice little anchor for this Jaguars defense today.
Stewart with 8 carries, 50 yards. Cam Newton with plenty of time and throws into a crowded set of 4 people, and Ted Ginn on the receiving end could not hold on. Let's check in with Jennifer Hale.
Well, Chris, Panthers coach Ron Rivera was later than usual getting out to the field after halftime because he was hanging back trying to check on Luke Kuechly. Right now, he is still undergoing that concussion protocol in the Panthers locker room. Meanwhile, for the Jaguars, tackle Luke Joeckel is questionable with an ankle sprain. Jaguars hoping they will see him again. Gus Bradley says he's been pleased with both the play of Bortles and rookie TJ Yeldon. Certainly hasn't seemed like a rookie out here today. Chris, let's send it back up to you.
On 3rd and 8, Greg Olsen has 1 catch in the game. Cam Newton has used a number of receivers, and he's on target to Ted Ginn, who can fly, and gets all the way down to the 42 of Jacksonville. Devon House flagged him down.
Yeah, Greg Olsen only has 1 catch today because, look at him, he's right here in your box. He's blocking. He's over there usually as a releaser, but he's helping in the pass protection, and Cam has plenty of time in this pocket. You see the route up top. Ted Ginn is just in and out of his breaks faster than Devon House is, and it's a big gain for the Panthers.
A 37-yard gain to the 41 of Jacksonville. 9 different receivers for Carolina have caught the football today.
And most importantly, they've gotten rid of those dropsies that they had earlier in the football game, Chris.
Yeah, Jacksonville picked up on some of those as the pitches to Jonathan Stewart. It cuts inside and then is cut down at about the 36-yard line. Cam Newton spraying the ball around, 12 out of 21, over 120 yards, a touchdown and an interception. Now, Olsen had a touchdown grab that was called off when he was called for offensive pass interference.
You know, we talked to Cam yesterday, and he talked about finding completions. He said he was at the Pro Bowl with Drew Brees, and Drew Brees was laughing at him. He was struggling a little bit, throwing some passes, and he said, just find the completion. No, don't have to do anything special. And he's done that today, obviously, finding 9 different receivers.
Cam Newton has it, and the Panthers, with Jacksonville closing, Telvin Smith couldn't shake Cam loose.
I know Cam had a couple of breakout runs earlier in the game, and this isn't going to work against Jacksonville. They know that Cam Newton has to be a big part of the running game today. And look at all 3-4 guys here ready for him to keep that ball.
A 5-yard loss.
And there's Tyson Alualu, who's having to play 3 technique for Derek Mark, who's out with an injury, and he's had a tough game in there today.
On 3rd and 11, Cam Newton is going to be eventually brought down by Dan Skuta. Standing there like a statue. Skuta couldn't get him down, eventually gets the sack.
Well, Cam held on to that ball a long time, and Dan Skuta, the perfect auto, as Gus Bradley likes to say. He's actually down here in a stance.
What's an auto?
He's a stand-up linebacker on 1st and 2nd down, but when they get in these predictable 3rd down passing situations, he puts his hand in the ground, much like he did last year when he was in San Francisco, and he runs through that block and gets a sack on Cam Newton. And the auto is the Sam linebacker in other people's vernacular, but he's a very variable guy. He does different things.
Brad Nortman with a high hanging kick and a fair catch called for, lets it bounce and roll into the end zone. A break for Jacksonville as their defense, after getting pushed around a bit, forces a punt, and now the offense will take over on the 20-yard line.
Game on Fox is sponsored by Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. By Hyundai, an official sponsor of the NFL. By Burger King. Try our Oreo Red Velvet Shake. Now you can have your cake and drink it too. And by Miller Lite. When it's game time, it's Miller time.
Two-time Pro Bowler Luke Kuechly remains in the locker room being checked for a concussion. So A.J. Klein in the middle with rookie Shaq Thompson and Thomas Davis at linebacker. And on 1st down, the rookie T.J. Yeldon for Jacksonville across the 25.
It'll be interesting to see how this defense functions now with A.J. Klein starting at middle linebacker. He was the Sam linebacker for this team last year. They drafted Shaq Thompson out of Washington, and he is a really unique player. Built more like a safety, but can do a lot of different things. And he started this game today. They're still athletic, but it's not going to be the same without number 59 in the middle for them.
So now they go with 5 defensive backs, and Yeldon is brought down right at the 25. A.J. Klein got there first. Let's check in with Jennifer for more on Luke Kuechly.
Well, Chris, unfortunately for the Panthers, not good news. Luke Kuechly did not pass his concussion protocol test, so he's out for the rest of this game, Chris.
All right, thank you for that update as Ron Rivera looks concerned. Josh Norman had to go through the concussion protocol prior to this game.
As did Charles Tillman. They've had some issues with it in the preseason. Now they're starting middle linebacker in it now as well.
On 3rd down and 5, Bortles. Oh, did he hold on to that? Alan Hearns falling to the ground. And Bortles hanging in the pocket for a 1st down catch.
This is a good matchup out here with Josh Robinson versus Alan Hearns. Alan Hearns is not the quickest or swiftest. That is pass interference, first of all. But what an outstanding catch by Alan Hearns. Good throw again by Blake Bortles.
Gain of 11. Alan Hearns, 6 touchdowns last year, a Jags rookie record.
You know why he's Mr. Reliable if you're making catches like that for your quarterback.
Bortles, here comes a flag, and he's going to run. And This may be brought back. Good enough for a first down pending the flag, which was there's 2 down back in the area.
Holding. Offense. Number 76. 10-yard penalty. Replay. First down.
Of holding, where Luke Jokel has come back into the game, and now he's down again.
Oh, Luke Jokel is holding because he's struggling out there on that ankle. Luke Jokel is right here on your screen and working against Mario Addison. He has no base, no power. You see how he's struggling just to stay on his feet.
Number 74, Sam Young, 6'8", former Cowboy and Buffalo Bill, replaces Luke Jokel on an offensive line that allowed the most sacks last year, 71. They've only allowed 1 today on Bortles, who fires, and it's intercepted. Josh Norman has a Panther pick 6. Touchdown, Carolina.
As soon as this ball left Blake Bortles' hands, he knew that he had made a mistake. Great reaction by Josh Norman. See him out there in the flat. Running back TJ Yeldon, and it's just, he thought they were in a different coverage, man, and that is not what you want from a backed up situation. An easy pick for Josh Norman, and Carolina gets another touchdown.
A return of 28 yards, and the frustration from Bortles, who had cut down his interceptions over the last 8 games of last year. But that's a big one. Now a 7-point difference with the extra point. Again from 33 yards away. It's now an 8-point lead for Carolina. Bortles, in his first 6 games last year, suffered 12 interceptions. In the last 8, he only threw 5, but this one is points for the opposition.
Is sponsored by Verizon. Watch live local games with NFL Mobile, only on Verizon.
Josh Norman's 28-yard interception return for a touchdown has added to the Carolina lead here in the third quarter. Gano, Mr. Touchback, kicking off. Corey Grant, if he has the chance, it's going to be through the end zone, so 20-yard line.
I got to show you this interception return for a touchdown. Now look, let's hold this right here. You see the safety in the middle, so you know it's single high, 4 underneath guys right here, and you'll see Kurt Coleman going to the flat. That's his responsibility. Blake Bortles thought he had what he had. Josh Norman right there was supposed to be in thirds coverage, and I got to tell you, as an ex-defensive back, I appreciate greedy corners, and he was greedy and jumped that fast for a touchdown.
And Norman got reprimanded for the taunt there. You can get flagged for that. He has to be careful while celebrating, as Denard Robinson is in the game. And for Blake Bortles, his first interception of this game, and he'll have to shake it off, which is worth pointing out. He often listens to Taylor Swift in his headset before he gets ready for a game and works out. I'm not making that up. I know I had to reach for that. But he's a Taylor Swift fan. He's not afraid to admit it.
I love it.
Meanwhile, he needs a touchdown and a 2-point conversion to tie on 2nd and 6. Denard Robinson. Can he get free? He does. Another tackle broken and knocked down and out of bounds at the 40 by Josh Norman.
Denard Robinson is such an interesting weapon on this Jaguars offense. We know that he was a quarterback in college. The single most, he had the most yards by any quarterback in the history of the NCAA, but they've used him in a bunch of different spots. They tried him at wideout. His hands were not good enough to play wide receiver. But when they put him in the backfield, he really exploded last year, and he's continuing that today.
He was the Jags' leading rusher last year. Despite missing 3 games with a foot injury, Denard Robinson nowhere to go on that carry. Let's check in for another game break with Mike Hill. Mike?
All right, guys, Rams impressive versus Seattle today. Tavon Austin already with a rushing touchdown. How about on a punt return? 75 yards for the third-year pro, his 3rd straight season with a punt return for a touchdown. Rams over the defending NFC champs, 24-13 in the third. Back to you.
Thank you. And they've been trying to get him the ball and find ways to get him the ball since they drafted him. Rams hoping for the hometown upset against the Seahawks. Williamson straight ahead into the pile. It'll bring up third down. New this season, stream live local Sunday afternoon games right on your smartphone. It's available with NFL Mobile. And I'm sure that's what that fan or those fans are doing. If you have a waterproof phone, 3rd and 6 for Bortles. Extra pressure coming. Time and open. He's got Allen Hurns who can't hold on.
What a nice play there by Charles Tillman. Big addition to this defensive backfield. He's so ball aware. I mean, never seen a guy that affects the football more than he does, than he did when he was in Chicago. And you see here, he had Allen Hurns here open, but watch Charles Tillman come in and knock that ball out the very last second. What a great play.
Well, they call him a turnover machine, 42 forced fumbles in his career, but Gus Bradley back at Seattle when he was coaching there, and here shows video of him to defensive backs, show people how he takes the ball away and makes plays like that. Again with a fair catch inside the 20 of Carolina. They have the lead and they have the football. Third quarter here in Jacksonville. Continues later today on CBS and then tonight with Sunday Night Football on NBC. And tune in tomorrow for a Monday Night Football doubleheader on ESPN. And to our affiliates, Fox in Charlotte, WJZY TV, and WFOX, Fox TV 30 in Jacksonville. Glad you're watching the NFL on Fox. From the 19-yard line, it's Jonathan Stewart. It's up across the 20. Greg Olsen with one catch so far, but moving the ball around to 8 other receivers. Cam Newton and the Panthers have done a good job without ace receiver Kelvin Benjamin, who last year nearly half of the passes to receivers went to him. Batted away and incomplete. Chris Clemens got a shot at an interception there after the deflection.
You mentioned Greg Olsen, though, Chris. They're moving him all over the place. He's the one tight end, and I say this every time I have a game with them, that he never comes off the field. They don't necessarily have to play him as an out wide receiver or an inline tight end. He does it all. He lines up at the U position. He lines up at the Y position. He lines up in the slot. And he's up here in that isolated section again where Cam usually likes to get him the ball, but we'll see if he stays in and blocks again.
Need to get to the 29 on third down, and Cam Newton, he gets out of it. On the run throws and completes to Jericho Cotchery. What a play.
I mean, only Cam Newton could do this now. This pocket is completely collapsed around their big quarterback. He has plenty of time here to get the ball out, but as soon as it collapses, he just bounces around. Nobody to really clean up that sack, and he keeps his eyes downfield, which is the most important thing. And Jericho Cotchery, the vet, knows there's a hole in there somewhere, and he finds it, and Cam delivers him a ball for the first down.
A gain of 24 yards. Cotchery, who had one touchdown catch last year, already has one in this game.
Just gotta love the intangible of having a quarterback that looks like this. I was down on the field. I swear he looks like a linebacker every time I stand next to him. But when the pocket gets a little squirrely, he's not scared to stay in there or bounce off tackles and still get the ball downfield. That was nice play by big number 1.
Cam Newton still has it and completes. There's Greg Olsen, and he's got a first down. There's a flag down right after the catch, or as the catch was being made. Carolina moved.
Ineligible player downfield. Offense, number 67. 5-yard penalty. Replay, second down.
Ryan Khalil, the center, said, what me? It's only the second penalty assessed against the Panthers today. So it'll make it 2nd and 13.
Not very often you see a center illegally downfield on a quick hitting play there.
Under 4.5 to play in the third quarter. Jacksonville needing a stop to get the ball back. Thought they had Cam Newton in their grasp, but he slipped out of it for a big first down. And here he goes again. Gets back some yardage up to the 44-yard line.
They can't get him on the ground. He just shakes off even the biggest defenders. So frustrating to play a guy like this. I mean, I played against him obviously at the end of my career, and besides the size, he's got the speed, he's got the athleticism, great competitor, and it shows almost every time he gets under pressure. He's not scared of it.
And a 5-year, $104 million contract extension given prior to this season, and a healthy start for him. On 3rd and 11. Looks one way, throws the other way, but what a tackle at the 41. Zooming in was Telvin Smith on Fozzie Whitaker.
The young defenders on this Jaguars defense are really exciting to me, Chris. They drafted well the last 2 years. Telvin Smith was a 5th rounder last year out of Florida State. He's got a long way to go in his development, but I've seen a couple of splash plays, and this is another one. Runs through 2 blockers there and makes a big hit on Fozzie Whitaker.
Smith, one of the top tackling rookies last season, had 99 tackles for Jacksonville. Norton on the punt. So try to Grant to the 2. Corey Grant. Brought down inside the 11-yard line. I'm sorry, that's Rashad Green, not Corey Grant. And they will take over at the 11-yard line. Rodney Barber, Chris Myers here in Jacksonville from the 11-yard line. The Jags take over on offense, trying to find themselves, trailing by 8.
I didn't know your brother came to the game, Chris.
Luke Kuechly, somewhere in that pool, I think, of that outfit. How do you stay cool in that? Kuechly's out of the game, still in the locker room with the concussion protocol. So the Jags defense, so far so good against T.J. Yeldon and Bortles, who is going to go down. Charles Johnson again. Here comes a flag on the back end of that play.
I think that's going to be a hold on Sam Young.
Holding. Offense. Number 74. Penalty is declined. Result of the play is 2nd down.
And Sam Young is in for Luke Jokel, who left injured.
Well, it does no good if you're going to hold and still get your quarterback hit. Charles Johnson just runs right through that hole and gets to the quarterback. I was just getting ready to mention that we haven't seen much of a pass rush from Carolina, and then of course Charles Johnson goes and gets a sack.
Only the 2nd sack. T.J. Yeldon goes across the 15-yard line. Charles Johnson making the tackle, and if you just happen to tune in, Luke Kuechly leaving with a concussion.
Yeah, he ducks his head when he goes into this tackle, and we saw him a couple of times trying to get up, trying to shake this off, but the trainer coming in and doesn't help by falling on him. But Luke Kuechly went off the field fired up, but he went into the locker room and did not pass the protocol, and he's still in there, and we probably will not see him for the rest of the day. So it's A.J. Klein in the middle in place of superstar Luke Kuechly.
Blake Bortles on 3rd down is going to go down. Mario Addison. 3rd sack for the Panthers. Jacksonville's offensive line. Greg Olson, the offensive coordinator, looks on.
You get 3rd and long situations. Defenders, especially rushmen, love it because they can just pin their ears back. We saw that sack on 1st down by Charles Johnson, and Addison had plenty of time to go in there. There's nowhere for Blake Bortles to throw that football, and he comes in and gets a big sack on the quarterback again.
Brian Anger out of his end zone. Ted Ginn, 45, no fair catch, and he's thrown backwards. Demetrius McCray makes the play. Cam Newton, Greg Olson, the offense taking the field, and hey, you can help out a charity weekend with the 88s. Not only the Panthers 88, but NASCAR driver and most popular driver, Dale Earnhardt Jr. and his 88. Greg Olson. You can get tickets for the Colts-Panthers game November 2nd and see the race in Charlotte, the NASCAR race October 31st, by helping Levine Children's Hospital. Greg Olson grateful because his son TJ has had heart surgery through that hospital and a chance to help others in need. Panthers with an 8-point lead, over a minute to go here in the third. Olson with one catch in the game. Jonathan Stewart carrying for Carolina. Well, the question was, if you took away Greg Olson, would you take away the main target for Cam Newton? And if Jacksonville has been able to do that, Rondé, he's moved the ball around to enough other people.
Jacksonville doesn't play a lot of man, so they're not really taking him away with that type of defense. They're aware of where he is all the time, but some of that is Carolina really minimalizing what he's doing. You see he's in the backfield now, standing next to Cam. He's been used more as a blocker today, and I think that's why his numbers aren't what I think some people might expect.
Cam Newton hesitates and then throws. Catch made by Cotchery over on the sideline. As the third quarter winds down for Jacksonville, their defense has hung tough, but the problem last year was they just didn't score enough points, and their defense didn't get enough takeaways. And that's something they may need if they hope to turn this score around here. That is the end of the third quarter in Jacksonville. The Panthers 17 and the Jags 9. You're watching the NFL on Fox on kickoff weekend. Start of the fourth quarter.
Look at Aaron Colvin here. He's on the sideline. Saw him putting on a protective sleeve on his shoulder and in just obvious pain as he tries to put his shoulder pads back on. But he's an important part of this defense. I told you earlier in the game, Gus Bradley has a lot of praise for this young kid. Plays inside and outside for him. Without him on the field, they're definitely short in the secondary a little.
Nobody was better in the fourth quarter except Ben Roethlisberger than Cam Newton last season. And on that play, ball into the turf on a third down.
Well, Ryan Davis there just ran straight over Andrew Norwell and got right in Cam Newton's face and forced this ball, this poor delivery from Cam. It's another one of these young guys on that Jaguars defensive front. It's unheralded, not drafted very high, but came in and was very productive playing multiple positions for Gus Bradley's defense.
Maybe a tipping point for Jacksonville, that big defensive play, because you don't want to get down more than a one score or one possession. Technically, you'd have to score a touchdown and a two-point conversion. High kick, fair catch called for by Green at the 15-yard line. From the creator of Sons of Anarchy comes a new FX original drama. It's the premiere of The Bastard Executioner, Tuesday at 10 Eastern, only on FX. Well, if you're Jacksonville here, you got to keep your fans in the game. Give them something to get excited about right before the half. I mean, they've played solid defense, but other than the drive before the half and the touchdown tossed by Bortles, they haven't had a lot to holler about. Quick pass is Rashad Green, who's knocked down right away. An excellent defensive play by Josh Norman. Let's get a game break. Check in with Kurt Menefee.
Well, one of the biggest trades of the offseason sent Jimmy Graham to Seattle. This is one reason why. In the red zone, 7-yard score from Russell Wilson. They're within a field goal in the fourth quarter at St. Louis. Chris and Rondé.
All right, thank you. And his former team, the Saints, playing later on Fox out in Arizona. Tampa Bay playing later at home against Tennessee, and Atlanta playing Monday night for those in the Panthers division. Denard Robinson has it, and he gets a first down.
Good play design there by Greg Olson and executed by Blake Bortles. Saw Cam Newton run a similar play that Jacksonville sniffed out. But this one, you fake the screen to one side, come back, it's a little slip screen to your running back, and big play for a first down. Greg Olsen's got a lot of talent on this football team. It's young, but they have a lot of talent on this football team.
Incomplete. Greg Olsen, the offensive coordinator, same name as Greg Olsen, 88 for the Panthers. Their paths crossed when Greg Olsen, the coach, tried to recruit him back in his high school, college days.
Funny story he was trying to tell us the other day, and the name, obviously there's an O in Olsen, the coordinator, and an E in Olsen, the tight end. He said it had no bearing on him. He was not interested in going to Purdue.
You can't even say we have the same name.
Hey, who's coming down? Green 80! Hey, alert, alert! Yeah. Alert, alert! Mike's 56, 58. Sunday!
TJ Yeldon fights hard for a first down, and we heard alert, alert.
He's telling everybody up front where he thinks the protection is, pointed out the Mike linebacker was 56. And I tell you what, this Jaguars offensive line rebuilt. Stephen Wisniewski right there in the middle with a big block. Springs TJ Yeldon. They've been doing that all day today for this young kid.
11 carries, 52 yards. He's averaging over 4.5 a carry. Second round pick from Alabama.
Easy. 74. Go back outside. 56. 56. Sunday.
Pass is caught, knocked down right away at the 42 is Green.
How about that understanding for a second-year quarterback? Changed that play. We had the great sound there. Changed it at the line of scrimmage. Got everybody on the same page. Picked out of that, came out of that run play that was supposed to go and threw that quick slant. Great understanding.
Well, Bortles was proud of the fact he talked about ownership of an offense, and when you asked him what that meant, he said, well, so that I understand everything enough to relay it in situations when I need it. Yeldon, and an excellent defensive play thrown down at the 40 by Thomas Davis.
Well, he's obviously got a new offensive coordinator here at Greg Olsen, and with Greg Olsen, Nate Hackett helping simplify the game in his head, you see the results. And it also helps too that Stephen Wisniewski was Greg Olsen's center when he was in Oakland last year, and so the communication is there. The communication is fluid. You hear it on the field here, and it's why they've had so many advancements on this offense.
Watch this twist.
Blitz coming on 3rd and 7. Bortles is going to try to get away and can't. Brought down by Davis, the speedy veteran at the 39. Once again, a team captain on the Jags, one of the defensive leaders, and a big stop for Carolina's defense. Once again, Jacksonville's offense fails to produce.
Well, there's one thing that Blake Bortles is. He sometimes gets a little antsy in the pocket because he wants to run. You know, he saw that pressure come. In his mind, I guarantee you, he thought if he took a step through that, he was going to spring himself free and be into the open field.
Mario Addison, defensive lineman, in pain. Ted Ginn inside the 5 of Carolina. Here comes a flag. He's knocked down at the 20.
There's going to be a block in the back on Teddy Williams, I think. It really wasn't much of one.
During the return, illegal block in the back. Number 21 of the return team. Half the distance from the spot of the foul. Carolina's ball. First down.
On defensive back Teddy Williams.
Right there on the 20-yard line, you see him coming to McCray. I mean, I can see it, why they call it, but that's not much of a penalty for me.
Backs him up inside the 7-yard line.
Box is sponsored by AT&T, mobilizing your world. By Furious 7, one crew, one last ride on Blu-ray and DVD September 15th. And by Modelo Especial, discover the Especial.
Carolina with an 8-point lead, a missed extra point by Jacksonville, and a Josh Norman interception return for a touchdown. the difference. Backed up at his goal line. The ball's tipped, deflected, and bounces to the receiver. It'll be second down.
This is the time of the game, Chris, where Jacksonville's defense needs to step up. You got this offense backed up. You know they're trying to get out of this situation. You can get opportunistic here. You know there's not a lot of speed, there's not a lot of quality at the wide receiver position for Carolina. So I wouldn't be surprised if Gus Bradley gets his dogs loose on this Carolina offense and see if they can create a turnover.
Ted Ginn, bottom of your screen as Gus Bradley looks on. Jonathan Stewart has the football and is swarmed right at the line of scrimmage. Jonathan Cyprian from his safety spot, one of the early tacklers.
They really try to run a misdirection. Watch Cam's action here. Comes back to Jonathan Stewart, but look at Puz Lusney. Slip a block, and then the rest of the posse comes in and cleans up that tackle. Swarm is a great word, Chris, that you use for this defense. We've seen that all day. Sure tacklers, making this running game very difficult for the Panthers today.
How careful Cam Newton has to be. Greg Olsen splits out to Cam Newton's right. Evan Funchess is in at receiver. Cam goes underneath to Jonathan Stewart. Can he get the first down? No. Paul Posluszny again on the tackle. He's been all over the field. Also has an interception.
There was no play prior to the snap. Jacksonville called his first timeout of the half. Prior to the snap.
Yeah, Gus is trying to get a timeout here because he has 12 guys on the field.
So a good timeout for Gus Bradley in Jacksonville. With Rondé Barber and Jennifer Hale, Chris Myers, our entire NFL on Fox crew. Hope you're enjoying kickoff weekend. Here in Jacksonville, the Panthers with a 17-9 lead, but facing a critical third down after Jacksonville avoided having too many men on the field, calling a timeout. But the Panthers need to get up to the 17-yard line to keep the ball away from Jacksonville's offense. Mike Tolbert, the fullback, bottom of your screen, lines up as a receiver. There he is in motion. Now in the backfield with Cam Newton. Cam Newton to throw. Catch is made. And he fights to get the first down. Did Jericho Cotchery get it? What an effort. Let's see where they spotted, and they gave him credit for the first down.
Yeah, the extra effort there by Jericho Cotchery got that first down. You know, Jacksonville doesn't play a lot of two deep high zone, but you see the safety moving back underneath coverage is good, but Cam Newton makes a good throw, good catch, and then the extra effort gets the first down.
Yeah, Chris Clemens actually tipped that ball, so the deflection's still a good catch. Jonathan Stewart carries. The clock runs just over 9 minutes now. Jacksonville has 2 timeouts. The Panthers all 3. There is Cotchery, the veteran of 12 years from North Carolina State.
Yeah, he's had a really nice game today. You know, looking for anybody to pick up the slack that was perceived to be missing after Kelvin Benjamin got hurt. He's been it today. Ted Ginn's had a nice couple of catches in this game as well.
Newton with plenty of time and a little high and a tough catch. Olsen could not come down with it, and Devon House was on the coverage.
Or there's that isolation play again to Greg Olsen. Line him up away from the trips receivers. Really good ball here, but even better play by the defensive back there, Devon House, to get that ball out.
So Olsen has 1 catch in the game. He's had 2 catches that were wiped out by penalty, 1 his own penalty.
And now I'm upset that I have him on my fantasy team. I said that earlier.
He'll pay off if you play him every week. 6 for 13 on third down, and another big one for the Jacksonville defense. Extra pressure, Cam Newton. Oh, if he runs, he will get the first down. A backbreaker on that Jags defense as Cam Newton makes him pay.
It's dangerous when you pressure Cam Newton and you don't have great lane integrity. Jacksonville brings about 6 guys into this pressure, a wrapping linebacker. You see Ryan Davis there, but he's able to step up because somebody's out of their lane there, and Cam Newton, you know what he's going to do when he feels this. Steps up, unafraid, and he knows where he has to get, and he gets the first down.
A 10-yard run. Important to move the chains, keep the clock running. Inside handoff, Whitaker. Jags tough against the run.
Jaguars have had 2 big third down opportunities here to get the ball back. You know, if you're able to force a punt from the backed up situation, you give your offense such a better advantage on that shorter field. But now, even if they do get a stop, they're going to have to go the length of the field. And they missed out on a couple ops there.
From the 31 of Carolina. Cam Newton throw. Stewart catches it falling to the ground. Stays in bounds, does not get the first down. Let's get a game break. Check it again with Kurt Benefit. Kurt?
Aaron Rodgers, 4 incompletions on the day, 3 touchdowns, including this with a Randall Cobb from 5 yards out. Leads at the Bears 24-16, getting late in the fourth quarter. Chris and Rondé.
Thank you, Kurt. Of course, without Jordy Nelson hurt in the preseason, Panthers can relate with Kelvin Benjamin's injury going down before their season starts, out for the season, just had surgery. Did not travel with the team, obviously. Have a timeout now, and Carolina calls it. Panthers have the lead, have the football here in Jacksonville.
Game is sponsored by Visa Checkout, the easier way to pay online. Sign up now.
An important 3rd down and 2 as Carolina, with an 8-point fourth quarter lead, tries to play keep away from the Jacksonville offense. Cam Newton to Tolbert, and Tolbert with a big first down and up near midfield. The Panthers in their, I guess, 4-minute offense a little early, Rondé.
Yeah, they're definitely getting into that mode now. There was very little chance that they were going to throw the ball on that 3rd down. They hand it off to Tolbert, and they get the big run. You get to this point, and Jacksonville's had 3 now opportunities to stop Carolina on 3rd down, and they just forget to make a tackle here on Tolbert. You got 8 guys in the box, and there's a gaping hole there. And Gus has got to be frustrated on the sideline. All he wants is a chance to get the ball back to his offense, and his defense can't get off the field right now.
Tolbert's first carry of the game. Cam Newton standing at his 40, flips it to Stewart, who slips a tackle and gets inside the 44 of Jacksonville near. He's about a yard or 2 short of another first down. The Panthers chewing up the clock. They've had it for over 10 minutes.
Well, this is what Carolina's offense is all about, and they're going to slow this down significantly. No, earlier in the game, saw Cam at the line of scrimmage calling plays. These things are going to get snapped now.
There's the time just on this drive alone.
A couple of seconds on the clock.
Second down 1. Cam Newton still has it, puts a move on and gets another first down. Boy, for 6'5", 245. He moves well, fast, big. You lined up against him.
We didn't have much success against him either.
But when you need a big play, and I mentioned, in terms of a passer rating, but you throw in his running ability last year, only Ben Roethlisberger was better in the fourth quarter. Today, he's done what he's had to do.
Now, those numbers aren't impressive, but they have been effective, Chris. That's more important.
Twelfth play of the drive as Stewart carries. Gets strung out and wisely stays in bounds.
Just in my experience with Carolina, playing against them and watching them now since I've been done, they're comfortable in this formation. They'll get 3 tight ends in the game, 1 wide receiver, and they'll just run these stretch plays, counters, whatever it is, to eat up the clock, keep guys in bounds. But you have to be careful. because they'll bring in receivers and all of a sudden they'll take a shot on you and get a huge play.
Well, if you're Jacksonville, how do you counter that in terms of just them wearing you down here?
Well, you said wearing them down. That's exactly what Jacksonville's defense looks like right now. They look like Carolina has worn them down. And they're not making many plays here.
Rookie Artis Payne is in. Cam Newton fakes to him and kind of just gets down to the ground as the clock runs, and 3.5 under that to play in the fourth quarter, and more than a 7-minute time-consuming drive for Carolina. Well, if you're Jacksonville and you know your offense has not been box office good, then your defense has to make plays.
Well, they just need to get off the field right now. Still well out of Carolina will probably punt if they don't get a first down here, but somebody on this Jaguars defense has to stand up and make a play. They're going to play man because they know they have to get off the field. Let's see what happens.
On 3rd and 9, Cam Newton keeps and gets inside the 30. Looks like he's short, but a better opportunity for a field goal. And it looks like another timeout called here by Jacksonville. They don't want Carolina to run the clock down anymore. But a field goal, if it's good, Rondé, that makes it a 2-score game. You'd have to get a touchdown, the 2-point conversion, and then still get more. The notorious Conor McGregor is back, and he's taking over in an all-new season of The Ultimate Fighter.
They call me an instigator. What the? A troublemaker. A wild card and a rebel. So don't miss an all-new Ultimate Fire Wednesdays only on FS1.
And Jacksonville fighting to stay in this game. Gano has made from 43. He missed wide left from 53. From 47 yards. And a big field goal for Graham Gano and the Carolina Panthers. He's also made both of his extra points for Ron Rivera from 33 yards. Bortles and the Jags in trouble. 2:41 to play in the fourth quarter, and Carolina has opened up now an 11-point lead. Again, it was the Josh Norman interception return for a touchdown, but the offense chewing up the clock and keeping it for more than 8 minutes and moving into field goal range. And now Jacksonville will have to rally with one timeout. They'll still have the 2-minute warning, taking over at their own 20. Let's check in with Jennifer Hale down on the field.
Well, Chris, you mentioned Kelvin Benjamin not with the team. The good news is he is out of the hospital after undergoing successful surgery to correct that ACL. He was headed into church this morning when we were able to get him onto the telephone. He's in extremely good spirits. He says he's feeling great. Both Coach Ron Rivera and Cam Newton visited with him in the hospital. He's doing mental reps for every game, Chris, trying to keep himself sharp for next season.
Without Luke Kuechly, who was hurt during this game, and Benjamin gone from the start. Pass is intercepted by Thomas Davis. And the pressure on Bortles forced him to get rid of that, and Davis was there to pick it off.
Wow, Sam Young just got his helmet ripped off here, and he's looking at the ref, arguing about hands to the face here, and he's right. That should have been a penalty. This pass, this interception should be nullified, but they missed it, and it's another turnover for Blake Bortles.
This crew has had a few, this officiating crew.
I can't believe they didn't call that, Chris. He was standing right next to him.
It's rather obvious. The pressure came from Mario Addison, and then Thomas Davis the interception. Man.
But a big play for the Carolina defense when they needed it. That last drive from the Panthers really took it completely out of the Jaguars defense, and now they're right back onto the football field. And they are definitely in trouble here, Chris.
Only one timeout for Jacksonville as Jonathan Stewart carries. And, of course, the 2-minute warning. And that last timeout used by the Jags. Well, both of these teams came into this game when you think about injuries. Of course, Kelvin Benjamin and the Panthers losing Kuechly during the game, but the #1 pick for Jacksonville on defense, Dante Fowler and Senderick Marks, Adrian Branch on that defensive front that put pressure on the quarterback, also hurt, not a factor.
This is an interesting young roster for me here in Jacksonville. They had great draft classes. You talked about Sinderic, and you talked about the rookie who tore his ACL the very first time he was on the field here. You feel a lot better about this team if they were playing in this football game, but they've done a decent job today. Turnovers have obviously hurt them.
And on the offensive side for Jacksonville, of course, the centerpiece of the offense to be tight end Julius Thomas.
Yes, of course.
And
we haven't mentioned him at all today.
To be back in 3 or 4 weeks.
The two biggest guys on both sides of the ball for this team are hurt and not playing today, and that's definitely going to affect them this season.
And you saw Gus Bradley working the officials on that missed call. Too late now. And Stewart is protecting the ball and letting the clock run. And this...
Well, that's not going to be the reason why they lose this football game, I don't think. They still needed to go the length of the field, but that was an egregious miss there by the refs, if you ask me.
Reaching the 2-minute warning in Jacksonville. Panthers in control with a 20-9 lead over the Jags. Gus Bradley's Jags, a rough start here at home with 2 minutes to go, and Ron Rivera, first time ever, back-to-back NFC South Division titles, going for a third, and the opening day victory well in hand here. Jacksonville is out of timeouts.
This has been impressive, with Carolina. They haven't had the best game. It was sloppy. It was really ugly in the first quarter for sure. First half wasn't much better, but they've done enough. With the running game and some big pass plays by Cam. They've got out of here with the victory. His first victory of the year, yeah.
We see Carolina fans, they have their own section here in Jacksonville. As Cam Newton walks over and looks in their direction, they're up cheering. And Carolina Blue, the Panthers will be home next Sunday, hosting the Texans. And then they play the Saints at home before they go on to Tampa Bay. Cam Newton, 18 out of 31, 175 yards, a touchdown and a pick, and he ran the ball 13 times. Not a lot of yards, 36, but key yards.
Key first downs, especially in the second half of the football game. On that last drive, particularly when he had to keep the drive alive, he was able to with his feet, and he avoided some sacks early in the game too, Chris. Again, it's not pretty. The numbers aren't going to scream at you. Great Panther victory. But they did some really nice things in this game on the road against the tough defense that we saw to come out of here with a victory if in fact they do.
A 43-yard field goal to add to it. And this one blocked. Chris Clemens got his hands up. So an excellent special teams play for the Jags, but with just over a minute left, it may be a little bit too late.
Well, there's hope, right? See Chris Clemens right in the middle of your screen, and the swim move. One-handed that. That was well done. Needed a play. Too bad they didn't get that play on the previous field goal attempt.
Gano acting, maybe hoping to get a flag. Clemens has tipped a few passes at the line of scrimmage and a big special teams play. Playing well for this Jacksonville defense. Bortles floats one, incomplete.
He's got to find some completions near the sideline. Carolina is just going to sit back, put two safeties deep, and make sure nothing over the top beats them.
In his brief career, and this is only his second season, he's only had one fourth-quarter comeback. It was a rally against the Giants, but they trailed in the second quarter of that game.
And these two guys right here, watch how deep they play every snap here.
Middle of the field, and almost intercepted. Roman Harper was juggling it like a hot potato and couldn't hold on. Jacksonville has the Dolphins at home next. It's an all-Florida thing. Miami beat the Redskins today up in Washington. And then Jacksonville will go on the road for 3 straight. At New England, at Indianapolis, and at Tampa Bay.
It would have been nice if they could have done something in this game, because that schedule is going to be formidable here the first month of the season. Miami is a much improved football team. They got Ndamukong Suh down there. It'll be interesting to watch him all year in a new uniform.
Catch, oh, what a hit, timed perfectly to knock the ball out. And Wickery, the nickelback, and we hope that Rashad Green is okay.
And there's been a couple of them today, some very, very vicious hits. And hopefully he's okay, Chris.
He's the leading receiver in this game. Rashad Green with 7 catches. Ben Wickery concerned for the rookie Rashad Green after that.
Yeah, immediately after he went down and Benet was walking away, he came over, put his hand on his knee and wishing him well. That's good sportsmanship there, man. Benet Wickery is a good kid. They love him here in Carolina. That was a vicious hit. It was a clean hit too, Chris. You know, it was violent, but I think it was more of the whiplash from the collision than anything.
Below the top line of the shoulder on 4th down. Pass is caught at the 45 by Brian Walters. And good enough for a first down as Bortles, clock running over 40 seconds. And no timeouts. Remember, Jacksonville, he'll spike it. 38 seconds remain.
Yeah, the one thing that I could take away from this game for Jacksonville is that Blake Bortles, yes, did some good things. We saw some improvements in his delivery. Got a good look at young TJ Yeldon at running back, who I think is going to have a special year. But there's still just some mistakes. You know, this team only scored 15-some points last year, and they're only sitting at 9, and it's been a problem. They're going to have to find a way to score more.
Jacksonville, yeah, hoping for explosive plays as Bortles throws incomplete. We want to thank from the Jacksonville staff, Dan Edwards and Tad Dickman, and also our appreciation from the Carolina Panthers, Steve Drummond and Ryan Anderson, for their cooperation and our crew getting ready for the broadcast. Cam Newton, optimistic about this team this year, said he wouldn't hold anything back despite losing his ace receiver going into the year in Kelvin Benjamin.
They dealt with diversity last year too and found a way to win a division.
I mean, yeah, when you win a division with a losing record but then win a playoff game as Bortles goes down in the arms of Mario Addison.
This defense is looking for somebody to pick up the slack as a rushman, and today it's been Mario Addison. That's the 3rd time we've seen him in the quarterback's face. I think it's his 2nd sack. Well, they can continue to build on that. Watch out for this defense again.
Pass is caught, and it's Brian Walters. Six seconds showing on the clock. I guess they're gonna concede or get everybody off the field here.
Well, it's a turnover on downs there. That was 4th down.
So you have to at least
so
snap it.
One more snap. But a good victory on the road here, Chris, for Ron Rivera and his Carolina Panthers to start the season. Again, wasn't pretty. They did enough. Pressured the quarterback late in the football game. Had that real long drive on offense from the 7-yard line to get that field goal. They're going to walk out of here pretty proud of the way they played.
5th straight regular season win and a streak going, and the Panthers are in 1st place alone in the NFC South. Let's see what the Saints and the Bucks and the Falcons will do. We'll come back and later bonus coverage of Seattle and the Rams. You're watching the NFL on Fox. It's a Panthers victory in Jacksonville.